Hello Crypto Cats, my name is Tom and I'm the Crypto Investor, and it's time for our weekly market roundup. And we start of course with a heat map of the top 100 coins, and what a beautiful week it has been in crypto. We have Bitcoin up nearly 24% at $41,500. Ethereum more modest in its gains actually, at 15.5%, sitting at $2,455. Alts not too bad, lagging of course from those blue chips as tends to be at the beginning of this kind of move, but we are still seeing some impressive moves in some of the coins. Link with an impressive week, up 31.6%. They have their SmartCon conference, which is free to attend and going to be, all sorts of knowledge bombs being dropped at that, so it's definitely worth checking out. Terra Luna is up 42%. They are their ecosystem is looking increasingly strong. In fact, you can see that the number of the amount of Luna being staked has increased significantly in the last month, and the amount that is circulating is continuing to drop. So the tokenomics working very much in the favor for Luna right now, looking pretty nice. Let's jump into the bubbles and see if there's anything we are missing, anything that's jumping out to us. Wow, Bitcoin Cash up. Is that Bitcoin Cash? Is that a different one? Up 100%. Rune has had a very impressive recovery. 4chain, of course, hacked for the second time last week and was pummeled, but it has bounced back 70% in the last week. So it's a risky play if they get hacked a third time. Of course, it would be really big trouble. But it's a quality project, and it's good to see it is recovering. I'm not familiar with Pirate Chain R, but it seems to be having a good week. Right, let's have a look at the revenues this week. So the last 7 days continue to just be dominated by Axie Infinity. $62 million in revenue this week, just making a mockery of DeFi and its revenues, all just here down in the dust compared to Axie. We're going to need a log chart on this, I think, Token Terminal, if you're going to be able to fairly represent other revenues. Axie continuing to also represent the best value. If you divide the revenues by its market cap, you get a PE ratio of just 8.3, making it one of the best values still. Can they sustain this? Who knows? It's quite remarkable to see. In fact, this is a nice comparison with Axie and Candy Crush. Remember that game? So Axie has 600,000 users. Candy Crush in 2020 had 273 million. Axie is set to make 1.2 billion in revenue based on its last 30 days. Of course, we are basing that on future performance being the same as past, but it could exceed it considerably based on the way it's just absolutely flying from bottom left to top right. Candy Crush did the same. So look at the difference in the number of users, 600,000 versus 273 million. The big difference between these two is the revenues of one are being passed on to the users. The revenues in the other are centralized to the top. So it's just extraordinary to see the revenues per user in Axie are $2,000 per user, and Candy Crush was $4.40. So yeah, just quite a cool comparison there. All right, the big news coming up this week, of course, is that EIP 1559 will go into effect on Wednesday. So we have 4 days and 20 hours to go, and then the burn will begin. We're going to have a whole new feel to Ethereum. Ethereum had its birthday yesterday. It's 6 years old, and what it's achieved in 6 years is amazing. But once this goes into place, we will start to see that burn. We'll start to see, depending on how busy the network is, how much Ethereum has burnt, and so we'll get whole new metrics to start to look at and assess how Ethereum is doing. But yeah, very exciting to see. Of course, you'd expect this to be priced in, but it also wouldn't be surprised to see some nice movement for Ethereum as maybe this gets picked up by media, maybe just, most people aren't have their awareness of what is going on. You might hear more and more fanfare about the fact that the supply has been burnt once it goes into effect. Plus, once we cross that crossroads and this is implemented smoothly, that will also help the coin as well. So exciting. Right, and as I mentioned, so Link does have its SmartCon event starting on the 5th of August next week as well. They've got all sorts of juicy speakers including the boys from Bankless, Ryan and David, Stani from Aave is speaking. This is free to attend, and there's going to be a wealth of just valuable information shared at this event. Link is rated on the back of it. Maybe there's speculation of an announcement coming up. I'm not sure, but this is definitely something just going to help the space. Just going to be some really cool content coming out of this that I'll be sharing with you next weekend as well when we do this update. Oh, and by the way, if you do get any value out of these videos, please smash the like button. Please subscribe. Please hit the alert button. Please share it with your mates. It really helps. We're creeping up slowly, but it's slow. It's slow progress. This is a cool comparison from Raoul Pal, which is looking. This is Bitcoin in that 2017 cycle where we topped out at 19,683. And many people say, "Oh, maybe Ethereum will do the same." Well, the price is unbelievably correlated, and so based on this, of course, we will have Ethereum hitting 19,683 come March next year. Who knows? But I wouldn't bet against it. I personally can see 20,000 ETH happening over the next year or two, and some, to be honest. There's also another nice one. I can't remember if I shared this with you from Raoul Pal, which was looking at the this is the adoption of the internet since 1992. You get this adoption curve, and then this is the adoption of crypto since 2016, and you can see that the adoption of crypto is even faster than the adoption of internet. It's ridiculous, and this is what tends to happen with new technologies. If you haven't seen this, so this is since 1900 the adoption of the telephone, electricity, automobiles, radios, and you used to have this much shallower kind of curve. And then as we've progressed as a species, the adoption curve just gets steeper and steeper. Like there's cell phone, internet. And the same will happen with crypto. It will be an even steeper adoption curve. And so just another little bit of a sprinkle of hopium to put in your pipe there. Less hopium focused is this. So the US is implementing an infrastructure bill. It's multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure bill. Which is a bipartisan agreement and expected to likely go through next week. But in this 2,470-page document, which likely no senator has read, perhaps apart from Bernie Sanders, who's famous for reading all of them, is this proposal for $28 billion of tax revenues to come from crypto. And it's a little... I recommend you listen to this article on the breakdown from CoinDesk. But... it's a little concerning, well, more than a little concerning, that right now they have they're expecting reporting of every single movement of crypto, effectively, right down to who miners even would be selling their crypto to. So it seems the wording is very broad and overarching and could have significant impacts on stifling the development of crypto. And as some people put it, this is. This could potentially be the US government cutting open their golden goose. DeFi could potentially make them billions and billions and billions of dollars of tax revenue in the future. However, should they do this now, they could really pour water on the flames and slow its progress, or see its progress go offshore to other areas. So it doesn't seem like a smart move. Another way you could spin this, though, is that if the US does get these high dependence incomes on crypto, then it is a space that they will nurture and let thrive because they want that tax dollar. So, however you want to skin the cat. But I also listened to Goldman Sachs view on DeFi and crypto, and they feel that many of the institutional investors are waiting for regulation. They want regulation to feel comfortable to put billions more dollars into this space. So you do have that as well. We will see. This law would not go into effect till 2023. These things tend to be reviewed and held up in the courts for years anyway. So this is just the beginning, this proposal, but we'll see if that goes through. I will share a link for a very good Twitter post on this as well in the comments below. So Facebook announced their earnings this week, and in the earnings call they mentioned the Metaverse over 20 times, and this is an article or an interview from Zuckerberg a couple of weeks back. But that they're making they're hiding no fact that Facebook intend to transition from a social media company to a metaverse company. They recognize the future of the importance of the metaverse. And I think, if the fifth or sixth biggest or whatever they may be company in the world is saying this, then people should pay attention. I see the future where billions of people spend more time in the metaverse than they do in the real world. And Zuckerberg obviously can see that. And so, of course, it raises concerns that there will be the centralized metaverse owned by someone like Facebook. And that will attract billions of people because it will be easy, it will appear free in return for your data. But there will also be a decentralized metaverse, run on Ethereum, whether it be Mana or Network or any of the other metaverse providers that are growing, or just a Lego of hundreds of different metaverses. But this is coming, and this is a massive growth space, and we've seen huge upticks in this space, particularly as well in the gaming and NFT side of it as well, which has that crossover. But yeah, this is an interesting one worth listening to as well. Link in description below. And what do we have here? So I mentioned we were talking about a bear market or a crab market, and now look where we are after that 40% jump in Bitcoin in the last week and a half. But the difference between 2017 and this is the amount of venture capital money that has just been flowing in. We talked about SoRare.com last week. Fireblocks, this is, I believe they help corporations to implement digital assets into their company and to hold crypto, and I'm not even sure, lots of stuff like that, but they've just raised another $310 million. This is just one of another 10 VC funding rounds that have been successfully raising capital this week. It is exploding behind the scenes. Money is flying in. Everyone recognizes that this is the future. What do we have here? Good if these loaded before. Okay, this is I will show you this on the charts, but basically Ethereum is entering a nice air pocket here, and we should see it begin to move up quite aggressively here. It has lagged behind Bitcoin a little bit. This is interesting. So Binance are now stopping their users from withdrawing more than 0.06 Bitcoin without a KYC check. So, not your coin, not your wallet, not your coin, not your keys, not your coin, sorry. When Binance started, you didn't have to do a KYC initially, so they have millions of users who don't have that, and they now have this restriction. Binance are pandering to regulators as quick as they can because they are under threat, and we saw them stopping the investment opportunities within synthetic assets like synthetic stocks. Used to be able to buy Tesla synthetics and things like that. That's gone. They've also removed massive leverage. They used to have 125x leverage and all sorts of terribly dangerous asset investments products. That's now been reduced down to 20x. So they're trying to appease regulators all over the world as quick as they can. They recognise the biggest threat to their business, but it just shows that the importance of not holding too much on exchanges, because they can change like that on the rules. Reddit, this is quite big. I don't think people appreciate how big this is, but Reddit are rolling out Ethereum community points using Arbitrum, and so they've been doing this in the crypto subreddit, where basically, I don't know if you use Reddit, but if you provide good content, you get karma, which is upvotes, and that's now translating into digital points, so like that go into your Ethereum wallet effectively. So the more that you contribute to this community, the more that you're enumerated, and of course this is happening on Ethereum using Arbitrum. And so it used to just be that one subreddit. They're now rolling it out across the entire space, which is, 460 million users per month who are now going to effectively have a crypto wallet. It's big. It's very big. And it's going to be interesting to see how that changes the structure of this society. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Bankless guys were saying like that these subreddits could almost take on a structure of DAOs. It changes the game. This is the beautiful thing that Ethereum is able to achieve, that we finally have digital ownership on the internet. This is a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot to mention it, but this is just kind of interesting that Axe Body Spray used Doge basically for their marketing, so you could buy like Doge body spray and it's just the first example of corporations using cryptocurrency to help with marketing, because they've seen how much of social currency, it's used on Twitter all the time. Every time someone like Elon tweets, you'll see 1,000 Doge Army tweets on the back of it. So they recognize that and they're capitalizing on that. And again, you're going to see more of this. What do we have here? So this is ridiculous. If you saw my video during the week, Goldman Sachs have filed for a DeFi ETF, but it is not all that it seems. Of course, the I was listening to a report from Goldman Sachs. They're extremely bullish as a corporation on Bitcoin and on cryptocurrencies and DeFi, but their ETF is absolute junk to be offloaded on retail, and it's frankly fraudulent in my opinion. If you look at the ETF, if you're not familiar, if ETF is a basket of themed stocks, and so you could get a technology ETF or a pharmaceutical ETF. This is meant to be a DeFi ETF. Top holding is Nokia. I mean, come on. Facebook, Alphabet, these are companies. DeFi could jump 50x and your portfolio might do like 10%. These are, if you wanted to have any exposure on the stock market to DeFi, the closest that you would find would be Coinbase and then MicroStrategies, neither of which are included in this ETF. It's criminal. It's ridiculous. If you are looking for exposure in DeFi, give Goldman Sachs a wide berth if your family and friends are doing so. Look at the BED index from Bankless. This has just been released this week, and it's effectively, if you just want to have one coin, if you just want to set it and forget, this is 30% Bitcoin, 30% Ethereum, 30% DeFi, the DPI index, and it gives you just an excellent coverage of this space. I'm pretty confident this will outperform most people's portfolios who search for quick gains and meme coins. It's an excellent solution. Highly recommend it. You can buy this on Uniswap right now. All right, let's jump into the charts. Goodness me, we're already 17 minutes in. Okay, so of course we must have a look at Bitcoin, and we have just seen the biggest gain, the most consecutive daily gains for Bitcoin since May 2017. So we have 10 days in a row of positive gains for Bitcoin. Overall, it has jumped from those lows. I did say it was going to be we'd get potentially a capitulation. We didn't quite get that capitulation, but I hope all of you held strong. And we've now since bounced 40%. And what's quite significant is we've broken this wedge that we were in during the week. I thought, maybe we would have a little bit of a struggle here, but we've sived through that resistance here at 40,000. And we've just come into a bit of resistance at 42. Perhaps what happens now is we come back and we retest the 40,000, confirm it as support, and move on upwards. If you follow Jordan at Conquer Trading and Investing, he has this line, his most important line in crypto, whereby if we get above here, then it's basically a quick air pocket to the all-time highs again. So let's see. I think maybe we coil kind of in here for a bit and then bam. But yeah, just showing you what that looked like back in 2017. So this was, I think, 11 consecutive days for Bitcoin here that I've got circled. And then shit got pretty exciting, and we marched all the way up to 19,000. So hey, let's hope that this is the same as what we're looking at on our chart, and we're about to see something monumental eclipsing this small move here. So overall, it's just looking uber bullish. I think what we've seen, and as I said last week, is a shift in momentum. It seemed to happen with the B word. Rumors of Amazon were what seemed to be pushing us up, but what really made the move was a short squeeze. A lot of ill-informed retail investors were beginning to short Bitcoin, which is a very dangerous move, and those shorts got liquidated and squeezed out, and we got that really impulsive move, and it seems to be continuing. And the number of shorts now on Bitcoin are down to almost record lows. We're right back to the level of shorts that we had when we were, striding upwards basically at the beginning of this year. So this is where we want it to be. It's moving very nicely. Okay, jumping back to Ethereum, we talked about this triple bottom which we got, and it was a nice buying indicator, and it certainly was. And again, Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, has had those 11 consecutive days in a row. And last night it punched through this key resistance we had here at 2400, where we'd failed to get above back here a few weeks back. And now really, we might get a retest, a confirmation of support here. We have some light resistance where we failed to get above here, and where we found support previously here at 2600. But I think that's fairly minor. For me, this really is an air pocket. We've got a magnet here. It's where I expect the price to be drawn to. I think we move up to 2900, particularly with the fanfare of VIP 1559. Maybe it's a little bit choppy initially, but it could easily just shoot straight up to 2900. We're going to see strong resistance there, you'd expect, unless just we're all out bull run. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum gains some ground here on Bitcoin and gets up towards 2900 fairly rapidly. We all know what kind of candles can be achieved as a daily candle, so that would be enough. And if we look at that on the ratio of ETH and